Welcome back to the Shared Diary. This is the space where the private becomes public and the stories we usually keep to ourselves finally find a home. I'm Lori.
I'm Debbie. And I'm Nicole.
We are three women with no secrets, just life. Because life is always better when the diary is open. So grab a seat, lean in, and let's get into today's entry. Well, hello, everyone. We're so glad you're here. This is officially episode 8 of the Shared Diary, and we're so excited that you're able to join us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and LinkedIn Live. This is a podcast not only for us, but for you. It's a shared space. So we're so excited you're here. And hello to our co-host, Debbie, is not feeling well this week. We miss you so much. You bring so much to this podcast, but we want you to get rest and feel better. So we miss you too, Debbie. Anyway, this is the Shared Diary. And this week, we're going to be talking about feeling stuck. And I don't know about you, but I've felt stuck before, and it really kind of sucks. and when you feel stuck, there feels like there's no solutions because you feel stuck. So, Nicole, have you ever felt stuck?
Oh my gosh. So many times. And you go into your head like, why am I stuck? And I can't figure this out. And like, it doesn't make sense. And you just want like one of those big, like, aha moments where you're like, it all is going to make sense. And sometimes that's just not the journey of it all, right? It's, you wish for that, but it's interesting what being stuck does sometimes, because I think it actually opens us up to our journey that we're on. And I believe lots of times when I've been stuck, it's because I'm learning more of what is keeping me stuck, the stories that I've had. And so I've had many of those. So like I really have. But I really do believe it creates a journey for us to go inward and start to find out what it is that is creating that.
Absolutely. Exactly. And I think too, just discussing it, bringing it to the light, right? Getting it out there into space, whether it's with a friend talking about it or like we are talking right now on a podcast, just opening up this conversation and actually kind of admitting it, like I feel stuck, right? Because sometimes we don't want to admit the things that we're feeling, and sometimes our thoughts or emotions actually rule our thoughts. So that's why I think it's important for us to talk about this today. And here's a little sample of a journal entry, because the Shared Diary is a shared diary. We're opening up our lives and diaries and sharing with you guys, and you're also sharing with us. And so this is a special space, and I don't know of any other podcast doing this where we actually go live. We invite you into the conversation, not just talking to you, but talking with you. So dear diary, I don't get it anymore. I've listened to podcasts, I've read the books, I've filled journals, I've prayed, I've worked on myself, I've tried to think differently, I've tried to be more positive. That's a good one. I've tried to be patient. So why do I feel so stuck? I keep waiting for something to click, for the answer that's finally going to make everything make sense, for the moment when I suddenly know exactly what to do next. But it never seems to come. I feel so hopeless. I just keep second guessing myself, wondering if I'm missing something that everyone else seems to understand. I don't know what unstuck looks like anymore. I just know I'm tired of trying so hard, tired of feeling like I'm standing in the same place when everyone around me keeps moving. And tonight, I honestly don't know what's keeping me here. So welcome to the Shared Diary. Exactly. I love that. I love the feelings and emotions that are coming out, and I could resonate with each and every one of those sentences in the diary entry. So welcome to the conversation, because life is better when the diary's open, right?
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
and yeah, I would like to say hello to everyone who's tuning in, and thank you so much for being here. Debbie, you said if you want to join us as a part of our inner circle inside the Shine Leadership ecosystem, please reach out here on Facebook or private message her, and she'll get you connected and register for a free call. So Debbie is in some of our previous episodes. She's gone today, but please do connect with any of us really
Mhm.
when we want to be here and have you experience who you are, who we are together. So have you ever felt no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to move forward? That is what we're talking about today. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in to the very first question. We're going to shift it up a little this time because as I was looking at the questions, thank you, Nicole, for coming up with these, by the way. The rapid fire round questions were really, really good. So I want to make sure we focus on those. But I do want to just have this introductory thought and put it out there. So when you hear the word stuck, Nicole, what immediately comes to your mind?
Well, you know what? I almost more than in my mind, I feel it in my body. Like when you say the word stuck, it feels heavy. Like it feels like I can't move. It feels like there isn't freedom. It feels like that there isn't a lot of hope. Like it feels contracted, really contracted. And so when you ask that right away, I just felt it like almost instantly. Like when I say I'm stuck, I think about it like in life, right? If you're stuck in mud. I remember when you were little and you'd be out and be pouring rain, and then you go out the next day and you go to play, and then you're in your rubber boots and you get stuck in the mud. You can't move, right? You just can't move. And I feel like that. It's that heavy energy of yeah, just not being able to move forward. And I really think as beautiful humans, I think we love to move. We love to move forward. We love to have freedom. We love to be able to expand, to grow. And so when we're stuck, it can feel so stagnant, like just so stagnant. How about for you, Lori? How does it, when you hear the word stuck or when you say I'm stuck, what comes up for you?
Yeah, I honestly don't like to be stuck or feel stuck. So when I do feel stuck, I like to put myself into motion, whether that means getting up and walking outside or something like that. I feel like whenever I do feel stuck, and usually it's a question I can't answer, right? It's like a problem I can't solve. And so getting up, moving around, changing my environment. I find that I don't know about you, but I find that when I do feel stuck and I'm moving, it's like it counteracts the feeling.
100%. And actually, when you were saying this, I think about all the times that when I have felt like that, and I used to run a lot. And so when I would go when I was feeling kind of crappy or I couldn't get the answer or I was just feeling so stuck, I'd put on my runners and I'd go for a run and I'd put like either most of the time I'd put music in, sometimes podcasts, but I really liked music. And music would get me like thinking about beautiful things because I always think songs and music help you remember things about your life and about what's possible. And so yeah, for me 100% moving has always been one of those things that changes me really quickly. And I love that you just brought that up because I think it's a good reminder lots of times instead of just sitting in it, move. And even if it was just even to get up for a moment and like from your desk or wherever you are and just like shake it out a little bit, right? Taylor Swift, shake it off. But just shake it off. But like just move a little. I think that really helps. So thank you for sharing that part for you because that is so. It just was a great reminder for me today. It was good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what this is all about. Is we're just kind of talking about our thoughts as the thoughts come. And that's what I love about what we do every week on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern. is just come together and have this conversation. And I hope that if you're listening or watching and you feel stuck right now, that you'll find encouragement in this conversation and you won't feel alone, because all of us have felt that way. It reminds me of an episode I watched of a different podcast where, well, I'll just say who it is. Mel Robbins was having, I love Mel Robbins. She was having a guest on. She has these experts on that know so much about mostly neuroscience or health and the body and that kind of thing. But this person said that whenever you feel stuck, just remember you're not behind, that you're never behind. Because I think that's what gets into our heads is, we feel behind or we feel stuck, like we can't move forward. So I love the fact that you're a runner, that you like to run, because that to me is I can't run anymore because my knee swells up. But when I was running, it was like the music, the momentum, all of that, and it just kind of untangles that twisted up knot that I have. Like I think of like a lot of spaghetti or a ball of yarn or something, and it's just all twisted up there. And it's like, it like relaxes the mind and it helps you feel more calm. And I think that's really a lot of how to become unstuck. But okay, well, I'm gonna switch into the second question. Have you ever looked around and wondered why everyone else seems to be moving forward while you feel frozen? What do you think about that, Nicole?
Oh my gosh. No, never. Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, social media is one of the things right now, right? Where years and years and years ago, when we didn't have that, you'd be stuck kind of in your own place and figuring things out, but you wouldn't be in comparison as much. And I think, the comparison that we're in now these days, we watch on social media, not necessarily knowing at all what's going on behind the scenes. We just see what's happening right in front of us, right? We're like, oh my gosh, that post looked amazing. And look how many people they have doing things. And some of it is probably possibly very true. But I think, when we look at a lot of those things and you go into comparison, that is right away where you start to come from not being enough almost immediately, right? And so I find when I come from that not enoughness, it stops me again. It stops me from doing the thing that I think could make a difference. And so I really believe that, I have definitely looked at things outside of me and said, wow, like, look at them go, look at them do their thing. That's amazing. How come I can't do that? Why? Like, what is wrong with me? What, all of those things. What am I doing wrong? I say that quite, what am I doing wrong? Right. Not just thinking, what am I doing wrong? And so, that has been a question that I've said too often. And I've really had to turn it around again and go inside and be, looking at my own business, my own life, not their life. Like, what do I want? Right? What is it that I would love? What is my way? What is my way of doing things? And I think that has taken me quite a long time, because I think I was one of those people that would look for the answers outside of me. So then when I'd go to social media or do those kind of things, I would look for the solutions outside of me. But I've been really practicing over the last few years going inside and saying, what do I love to do? What is my way? What is my uniqueness? All of those kind of things, so that you can get out of that. How about for you, Lori? What are your thoughts on that? Have you looked at others and been like, whoa?
Yeah. I remember when I first decided to start an online business and start the Be Awesome Network and grow the Facebook group and pour my heart and soul into that. I would look around and see other people who were online and having, like millions of followers or seem to be so successful. And I think it's so key what you said about comparing. And social media is amazing. I love it. But it also does bring those people into your stratosphere that you probably wouldn't even know if you didn't have that exposure. So there's the great, wonderful thing about it that we can actually do what we're doing now and connect But then there's also the other flip side of the coin where you're comparing and you're saying, gosh, I wish I was there. So I think, like you said, the one key thing for me that I try to do is limit my scrolling of the social media, right? I will let things in, but I have to be very intentional about those things. And I honestly have come up with some really great ideas just by seeing someone who's successful. So I have to shift my mind and watching what they do and saying, oh, wow, what if I could translate that into what I do? And so I've had to shift my mind from comparing to actually getting inspired. Like if you look at it in that, yeah, in that way, it's so much better, right? And I feel like that would be, I mean, that's if someone by chance ever looked at me and said, oh, I wish I was there, I would hope that they would instead say, oh, that's inspiring, I can do it too, right?
I love that you just said that because, I think part of that is being open to seeing things through a new lens, like open to being, to there being different solutions, open to being, like being an avid learner, right? What can I learn from this instead of like the judgment that we go back into ourselves right away? It's like, oh, I love this part of them. I wonder how they do that. Or, being curious about that. And boy, they inspire me. Like, I can't believe, that they can do this. And I love that you just said that because, if we can turn that around just by saying like, wow, that inspires me instead of I'm not enough. It inspires me. It's a beautiful way to do it. I love it.
Yeah,
Love
well,
it.
I'm just getting inspired by our conversation, so I have no clue where that came from, but I'm like, "Oh, good, good." Now I just have to remember that for myself, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
one of those things where you kind of like do it innately, but when you start to talk about it, it becomes more of a concrete concept, right? So I'm gonna have to remind myself to do it too.
hmm Well, you do it for me, and I watch it all the time. And I said that last week, but when you're doing your videos or you're putting yourself out there, it's always inspiring to me because, that's where you're really standing up for you, a vote for you. It's like, I'm gonna go do the thing. I don't know like what the outcome is going to be. I don't know, but I know that I'm showing up for me. And I think that is so beautiful. So thank you for always being such a beautiful example of that.
Well, thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I feel like there's so many people in my life too where I get that inspiration from, and I know for sure that that has to exist for us to move forward.
Right.
Otherwise, we would probably stay stagnant. So,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that, and I hope that that you understand that you inspire me as well, and so does Debbie. And that's why we're all here having this conversation, because if we can't inspire one another to keep moving forward, then why are we doing what we do? We have to be able to encourage one another. So,
Yeah.
thank you guys for tuning in and listening and watching. Be sure to drop something in the comments. Tell us where you're coming from. Tell us if you've ever felt stuck. So I'm
Yeah.
going to shift into the great questions that I was talking about earlier. I just love these questions. So we're just going to go boom, boom, boom and fire them off and go through the list. But I love this feeling. This question, which feels harder, starting or starting over? So sometimes when we feel stuck, we're kind of in a place where it's transitional or we've got to revamp things. So which feels harder, starting or starting over?
Wow, that is a that. And if you're listening to this, we would love your input and please answer yours as well because we learn through each other. So when you answered that, I think they're both challenging, both, but I would say starting over for me was probably one of the most challenging things. I've started a lot of things in my life, but starting over Oh, that one was really, really challenging. And I think it always depends for everybody where they're at and what starting over means for them and where they're doing it from. But for
Mhm.
me, starting over was a big one for sure. How about for you, Lori?
Totally, 100%. I feel like starting has an energy. And by the way, hello, Cherry. Thanks for joining us. Starting has a whole different energy. It's like an exciting new thing, whereas starting over kind of brings this energy of like, oh, I'm starting from scratch, or I'm leaving something.
Yeah.
I did it this way. I was here, but now I have to shift. It's like a have to thing, not a get to thing. And so for me too, like starting over was probably the hardest thing that I ever had to do. From my kid's father when we divorced, starting over on my own, how scary that was. And, just feeling like the weight was on my shoulders, not only to support myself, but to support my kids, and then also be that emotional support when you're hurting and you're going into pieces, falling into pieces, and your kids are hurting. And so that for me, like starting over is was pretty daunting and hard. But there is a positive starting over. There's the whole, like, for me, the example would be moving to Florida, moving my whole life from Oklahoma to Florida, and starting over in a new way, in a fresh way, because it's a choice, right? So I think it matters. Are you starting over because you have to, or are you starting over because you want to, right?
Yeah, that's a really good distinction on that. Yes, absolutely. And I think, when you were saying when I have to, it's so heavy, right? It's so heavy. And there's a lot of responsibility behind that. Like there's just such a huge weight underneath that. Whereas some people they're starting over isn't necessarily from a have to, and they are like, I just want to change careers, or I want to, like you said, maybe even move, or try something that I've never done before, and it can have a very exciting aspect to it. And I would say that starting over for me was like probably my biggest expansion into who I was.
Mhm.
So if I had not gone through that, and I'm not suggesting that everybody should be going through that. It's not something that I loved by any means, but what I know for sure is that I found out so much more about me from starting over. I actually had no idea about like the resilience, the strength, the ability to create new things, to do other things that I've never done before, to show up in a way that I had never had to show up. And so it really was so daunting, and at the exact same time so expansive. And so it is a journey. It is really a journey, but it's one with like a relationship with you and you on that one. Like you just, you have to really, really get to know yourself. It's almost a forced get to know yourself time, right? It's like, oh boy, here I go. Here I go.
I like what you said. It's a relationship. It's you and you.
You and you. You and you. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. And it is you, like you said, expansive, right?
Mhm.
It can be expansive. So again, it's just shifting. It's shifting your mind from the negative aspect of it and the scary aspect of it to what is this going to do for me? And I have heard that so many times where, the when this isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And so I do think it doesn't have to be hard if you can really pull into that mindset of expanding yourself and learning and growing, right? Because I mean, some of us are a little bit more self motivated, but um, I know the most that I've grown has always been in situations that I couldn't control. So I had to really figure out what to do next because of this change in my life. But
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah. I love that. Okay, well then, have you ever stayed somewhere longer than you know you should?
Yes, for sure too, right? For sure, for sure. Um, ah, I think about that one. There's a lot of fear sometimes in stepping into what you know you should do. Like actually, like you can hear the whisper in your mind being like, just do what you need to do, say what you need to say, set the boundaries, do the thing, and you can hear it. And in fact, I think about this all the time because many people probably watching this, and I know you, Lori, have, and Debbie have, done a lot of personal development work and read the books and, listened to the things. So we know what to do. Like we know it, but there's those underlying stories that keep us not doing the thing, from like fear of like rejection, and that, or I'm too much, or I'm going to hurt somebody. I will I will do something that will make me be not accepted, or I will have my reputation tainted, whatever it is. Like there's all these underlying things, and until we start to dig underneath, we will often, I have so many times abandoned myself in order to make the situation just be okay for everybody else or everything else, because I'm so worried about my place in that. And if I was being really honest, sometimes that's even more of a selfish place, right? Coming from a place like I just want to like keep it all okay, keep everything okay. And so yeah, I for sure have done that, stayed too long in a place out of fear, a lot of fear. How about you, Lori?
Totally, 100%. When I got married for the second time, it wasn't necessarily, I don't want to say any that it's a mistake, because sometimes we make those choices and we feel like we're doing the right thing, but uh, but then once we get into it, it was like the old me needed to have a relationship, and I needed to have a husband. I was missing having a family unit, and so I recognized pretty early on that this was not going to be a good thing for me, but I didn't know what to do. And I kept thinking, the positive person inside of me and the optimistic person kept thinking, well, it's going to work out. It has to work out, right? And I didn't want to be embarrassed and have another marriage fail. And but I stayed too long because once some things happened that would normally destroy a marriage, I stuck around, and it just started to chip away at who I was, my confidence, my energy, and eventually, not only because of that, but because of other factors in my life, ended in a real health scare, because we all know that stress kills, and it's the root of most. I think it was like the statistic is super high in the 90s of the root cause of diseases, right?
Yeah.
And so, I was doing that because I was staying because I didn't know what else to do. And so there were a lot of emotions and a lot of things that were hidden in that decision, but inevitably it really pretty much kind of took me down. So staying where you shouldn't stay is probably not a good idea. And
Yeah, everything you were saying, I could feel it, because it can be so heavy to even think of leaving, though. What does it mean when I leave? Like, what's going to happen to my life? What's going to happen to the people in my life? Where do I go? What do I do? And so that fear is so heavy that's when I think that you do need to have people in your life that can help you walk through this and take baby steps along the way, so that you can start. Because if it's not in alignment with the life that you would truly like to have, then we're in the wrong place. Like we are not doing the right thing, or we are probably staying too long, right? If it's not moving towards that, we're probably abandoning ourselves in some way or form. But I think the part about change on this is the uncomfortable part, the fear, like what's going to happen when I do this? And so if you can have somebody that's like with you, and walking you through this and helping you see options. Because many times when you're in fear, you don't have any options. It's like the options go out the window and you can't even see anything except for what's in front of you because you're in that panic. You're in that place of like your mind shuts off. Your creative mind definitely shuts off. And so I heard everything you were saying in there, and I think so many people can relate to that because that's why so many of us stay in things because of that deep fear without the options, like thinking there is nothing else that I can do.
Yeah.
Thank you
Oh,
for sharing
totally.
that.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I think that's what we're opening up this conversation. Why we're opening up this conversation is so that people who are listening and watching don't feel alone. And
Mhm.
I learned a long time ago that, I don't have to have it all together. And I think that's probably where my mind was in that season of time, is that I thought I had to have it all figured out and all together. And so just laying that expectation down and moving forward, knowing that I can be imperfect. I can decide for myself that this is not a good situation. I don't need to stay in. I don't have to feel stuck, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
yeah.
love that. I was talking with a client yesterday and we were talking about choice, right? And how many times have we said in our life, I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. I've said that so much. I don't have a choice. I have to, right? And that sometimes feels like probably one of our biggest lies we tell ourselves is that because it keeps us without, when we say that, it closes all the doors, like
Yeah.
almost immediately closes the doors. Where if I said to myself, well, what are my choices? Like a different statement, what would be my options? You start to expand it, right? You start to look outside of what you have just said. So, yeah, it's choices. Every choice we make, right, leads us one way or the other. And I think that's where when you realize you actually have choices, that's when your life starts to open up.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's what I was feeling at that time. I didn't have a choice.
Mhm.
Um, I worked for a church and I didn't want another divorce. And I was thinking about how can I, what is this going what message is this going to send to my kids? And there's so many things going through my mind and keeping me stuck. And so I know, hello, by the way. Hello, Gina. Thank you for joining us. She says, so true, Nicole. And we're so glad you guys are here. So we're talking about feeling stuck and what keeps us stuck. And so the next question, I think that this really is a great transition into what keeps people stuck more, because you talked about fear, Nicole. Fear or overthinking? I don't know. I mean, that's a pretty tough call. What keeps us stuck more, fear or overthinking?
Hmm. I, you know what, as I'm overthinking now, I'm overthinking this. I think that overthinking often comes from fear. So
Mm,
you try to think of a million different things in order to negate the fear. And so I feel like fear is like the underlying thing that makes you like have to think it out and be perfect at this and make the right decision and do all of that because underneath it it's that fear of like if I make a mistake or if I've done this wrong or maybe I'm not a good person or this would be like so detrimental to so many people or or like if you're thinking about like when you're stuck if you're thinking about your job or you're thinking about a relationship you're often thinking about first of all I think lots of times you're in the future without even being there you're like already projecting right you're like this is going to happen and this is going to happen and like you can go down this horrible road and it hasn't even happened yet we're living it like your whole body lives it right because you're thinking of every reason why this is like going to go really bad and we haven't even lived it yet we are already projecting but for me I would say that if I was being so honest, it's the fear. It's the
mhm.
stories that I tell myself that causes me to overthink and do that. For me, yeah, it's fear. And I can feel it in my bones sometimes, even as you and I are talking, like some of the things I continue to think about that I need to do or I want to do, I should say want to do, that the fear comes up, right? There's fear. What about for you, Lori? Overthinking or fear for you?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I feel like when I do overthink, there are so many emotions that are happening in my body, and I think what you said was brilliant. It's you're thinking of the future. It's like we can't tell the future, you know? We can't project what's going to happen. And I think there's another stat out there that talks about, you know, somewhere in the 90s. 90s is my number. A percent of the time, none of those things that you fear happening actually happen. So, yeah, we just have to remind ourselves that, you know, the overthinking, when we get in that mode of fear or overthinking, that it's not a good place to stay, and it won't be productive. And I think what Gina just commented is very true too. A lot of times we're over loyal, where so that to me feels like being wanting to please or not let someone else down. And when we're thinking of everyone else in our lives but ourselves, that's where I feel like that can cause a problem and keep us stuck. Because like you said at the very beginning, you feel it in your body. So when you're in tune with your body and you know what the right direction to go is, or right or wrong, what a good direction to go is, and what you feel inspired to do, and what you know what's best for you, when you go that direction instead of playing it safe or stopping or being fearful or overthinking or overanalyzing or projecting the future, how it's not going to work, right? 20 reasons why it won't work. That's a huge one. So thank you, Gina, for contributing to the conversation. Anyone else who has some thoughts about these questions, go ahead and chime in. And thank you, Cherry. You said you gladly admit I definitely overthink everything. I think we all do. Oh, well, and then also, so fear and overthinking, but when you feel stuck, do you usually push harder? This one was good for me to think about. Do you usually push harder, freeze, or pull away for a while? And there's no wrong answer here, but for you, Nicole, what is your go-to? Do you usually push harder, freeze, or pull away, remove yourself?
Yeah, I've experienced all of them, but I tend to push harder, and that for me has been not always great, because the more I push, the less clarity I have. It's so interesting. The more I push, I even get more confused, right? I because I'm not pushing. It's not coming from a great place. It's not coming from like a place that I'm going to be okay and everything's all right. It's not coming from there. It's coming from I'm not going to be okay, and I've got to figure this out. And if it doesn't get figured out, what's going to happen? But that is like been my thing. Well, push harder, work harder, get like you got to do this. But what I know is, and I've now from observing myself over time, is that I can push so hard that I get into that freeze where I'm like, oh my gosh, my nervous system like stops. And then I actually do pull away. Like I'm almost like, I can't even think anymore. And then so for me, it's always gone kind of that route where I push too hard, then I freeze, and then I just like I'm out for a bit, right? I'm like, I just can't. And so it's such a good question on there. And Craig was just saying, can't push a rope. Can't push a rope. That's a good one. It's so true, right? Can't push a rope. And Gina learned the hard way that pushing harder keeps me more stuck. Haha, now I know I need to pause. And me too. Me too. I like that is something, and I've been learning the hard way too on that. My body has, and you and I have talked about this. Debbie's talked about this on here. We've all had episodes with our body speaking to us so loud, saying that isn't the answer. Pushing harder is not the answer. And it tries to tell us all the time. It's our bodies are so wise, Lori, like it's so wise. Our bodies are just like, they're like these messengers to us all the time, trying to say, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. And if you don't listen, it's going to really talk loud. And so yeah, pushing harder has been MO of what I used to do. And now I'm trying to relax, go for that walk, take more time. And I feel like, and be more present instead of being in the future or being in the past. I'm really trying to be here right now as much as I can, because when I'm here right now, there's so much good in the now. So much good.
So true. I love that. And I love what Cherry just said. She used to push through. She's pretty much mirroring what you said, but I learned that doesn't work for me. Now I pause, be alone, and look inward. And
Love it.
that's a great, great way
Love it.
of dealing with that big what if, right? That big question in our minds, what if, when we're feeling stuck, you either push harder, freeze, or pull away. And so for me, I think I'm pretty much exactly like you, Nicole. In the past, I really pushed harder, and sometimes I will find myself doing it again, but I catch it easier now because I have had the experience of the breaking down of my body when I'm ignoring the messages that are coming through. And so, when I get frustrated or I feel stuck or, I feel behind, pushing harder has been my go-to. I think it's because it's like, well, you got to do something about it, right? Go, go,
for
go.
Sure. For sure. For sure.
But yeah, so freezing, I don't think I've ever been a person to just freeze, but pulling away for a while, I think is a great solution to some of this, because when you can get yourself out of the situation and look at it from a different angle and a different point of view, that can really help you understand it's not so bad, or it's not as overwhelming as you feel it might be. So I love that. I love that question. And it was so helpful for me to kind of like talk it out and hear what your perspective is. And then also to hear from Cherry and Gina and Craig. Thank you so much for your feedback. This is what we're all about here at the Shared Diaries. We're having this conversation. And so we want you to be included, feel included. Drop some comments in the chat wherever you're joining us from, LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook. And then if you're watching this as a replay, go ahead and drop comments as well, because we're watching those comments, even if you're seeing it after we're live. So we're glad you guys are here. And this is our quick fire round of questions. I love these questions. Which is harder, not knowing what to do or knowing what to do but not doing it?
Oh my gosh. Okay, before I go there, I wanted, Cherry had a really beautiful response as well. She said, my cancer experience taught me that the present is actually all that we have. And I really wanted to thank her for that, because, sometimes we get so wrapped up in all our things in life. And when you have something so serious sometimes that happens within your world, it can really put a new perspective on it. And I love that, even though that was probably one of her most challenging, I don't want to say that because I don't know Cherry, but I thank her for sharing that. One of her probably most challenging times in her life, it's taught her something so valuable, and that is being present, being here right now. And so thank you so much for sharing that. Sorry, Lori, can you tell me again the question you asked? Because I was like, I got caught by Cherry's beautiful response.
No, and that's what we're all about, is we want to hear from you guys. So thank you, Cherry, for sharing that. And it did have to be so very hard. And to learn the lesson of being present is so important. So thank you, Nicole, for even sharing that and bringing that up, because I think that can keep us into the mindset of like, not the future, like what you said, not the past, because future's fear, past is regret or shame, but the present. And what do I have right now? What tools do I have? What people do I have? What solutions can I think of or bring up into a conversation? What can I do right now? Right? Because it's like, well, can you do anything about right now? Maybe not. Maybe you just need to go pick some flowers.
Yeah. Isn't that
Or
true?
call a friend, something in the present. So thank you. Cherry, for sharing that. And hello, Shay from Houston, Texas. Thanks for joining us.
Hello.
We're talking about feeling stuck. And I think this is something that everyone has felt at one point or another. Thank you, Gina, also for chiming in. I hop on my helicopter and fly over the situation to see things from a broader perspective and more distance. I love that. And how creative. I love that, because visualization, and you teach this, Nicole, visualization can really change your mind. It can like rewrite all of those neural pathways that tend to go towards fear. If you can just visualize a different way or look at it in a different light, then you start to see possibilities. Your mind stops thinking in one direction and it opens it up into many, many directions. Maybe there's more than one solution, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I remember a coach once, and I don't want to have the visualization wrong, but it was one like standing at the bottom of the building and looking up, and everything looks like really challenging and really hard. And then go to the top of the building and look out, and the building seems small, and there's so many other options out there, right? There's just so much more. And I think sometimes we just need to ask the right questions, to start getting our mind to expand. And like you said at the beginning, I think inspiration from others, like watching what other people have been able to do, also allows us to see things from a different place. So I really love that. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, and hello to Dave. Thanks for being here
Hello,
from
Dave.
Ireland. So fun. We're talking about feeling stuck, and this has been pretty eye-opening to me, because I love, by the way, Gina, your comment about the helicopter. Like, it's like getting on a plane and seeing everything from a different perspective, and like seeing the plots of land and feeling like everything feels so big when you're down, or in the situation. But when you rise above it and you look at how really small it can be in comparison to this big, wide world. Wow. I mean, what a mind shift. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Love
Yeah.
it. Love it.
So our question that we were going to talk about is, I mean, this we just roll with it, right? I love this question. What's harder, not knowing what to do, or knowing what to do but not doing it? That kind of burns.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's not knowing what to do for me. I think the other one, I know I can do it if I have enough courage. I will, like, if I can change the way I see it, and I can have maybe some support along the way, and I'll do it. I can do it. But it's the not knowing what to do. I think that is like torture sometimes, right? It's one of those, like, I don't know. There's been many times, like when my marriage ended and things were heavy, and I was trying to figure out like what kind of career I could start, and like the education that I had to go back and take, and is this the right course to take in order to start my business that I wanted to do. I had all these things, and I was lost times. I'm like, I don't know. And I remember moments of being like, just praying, right? Like actually praying for some kind of divine answer to show me, because the circumstance felt so heavy, and the stakes felt so high. And so for me, the not knowing what to do has always been one of those like more challenging parts. Whereas if somebody gives me something that seems like it resonates with me, and I'm like, that makes sense, even if I'm scared, that gives me a path. I don't know, like I know that when I have been in places where I know I needed support and I needed help, I was scared to initially invest in that and do that. But what was so interesting is if it was like in alignment and it felt really good, the second I said yes, my shoulders came down. I'm like, I can breathe, because it's not just me by myself anymore. I'm not so alone in this, and together we can figure these things out like it. And I think that's part of it too, is that aloneness sometimes, right? That we feel like we're the only one that can do this. We're the only ones that can figure this out. And when I started to realize it takes a village lots of times to raise my kids, to build my business, to raise me, it takes a village. That when I started to realize that, I was like, okay, I can ask for help. I can check my ego at the door and just say, I need help. I need help. And that relief a lot of times for me was like, so for you, has it been that, has it been the solution that makes you feel better, or has it been like the stuckness? What is it for you that really gets you, Lori?
Yeah, I mean, I think not knowing what to do is frustrating, but I have the ability sometimes to just be creative. And I feel like I get more frustrated or feel more stuck when I know what to do, but I'm not doing it, because to me, I'm letting myself down. I'm letting, anyone who's depending on me down if I'm not doing what I know I need to do. And this isn't just for me. It's not just like, doing the laundry or things like that. They're big things in
Yeah,
my
big
life,
things.
right? Yeah. So for about a year and a half, I've known that I want to make a move, a shift, but I haven't done it. And I haven't, it's frustrating. And so for me, I think it's harder to think about knowing what I should do or should do. I guess should is not necessarily the best choice of words, but knowing what to do, but not doing it. So that makes me feel a little more stuck than not knowing what to do.
Yeah. When you were just saying that, I think so many people can relate to that, actually. And as you were saying that, I for sure have seen it in me too, is because there's a, like, I think, like, when you think about your health, right? There's all the things out there saying, oh, you just do this and you just do that. And then people are like, it's not that they don't know what to do. It's just that, why am I not doing it? Like, why am I not taking the step to do what I need to do? And I think you're right. That's when a lot of the, like, disappointment and shame and all those things come in, because it's many times they're like, it's just right there. There's a lot of things telling me what I can do, but yeah, I'm not doing it. And I know that it's possible. And so, yeah, I think so many people could relate to what you just said. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, well, and I think too, like you said, like once you do take that step and actually move forward with what you know you need to do, your shoulders relax, like you said, like if I had a big decision to make and I needed to invest in something and I needed to do something and make maybe a little bit of a sacrifice, but once I took the action, my body relaxed. And I love what Gina says, not knowing what to do makes me more creative and decisive, as I have to do something to move forward. Not knowing what to do makes you figure out what to do, right?
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing, everyone, and commenting and being a part of this conversation. This is the shared diary, so we're so glad that you're sharing. I'm going to shift gears and say one word. What helps you move forward? We might have already covered this, but I love the one word concept, because I've done this in the past where there's, maybe we're sitting around the table and the kids, and we're wanting them to share something about their day. One word, right? Should just share one word. So, and thank you, Cherry. Taking action overcomes fear. So true.
100%.
Yeah. So the question is one word. What would you, and chime in the chat. Just finish this sentence. One word. What helps you move forward?
Oh my gosh, Lori, that's a hard one. Because I have so many words in my head. I think for me, it's just go, just go. And I think so the word go, like, that is one, like, as you were saying it, I think it's probably the word that if I had to pick just one, it'd be like, go.
Yeah.
Go for you.
Take action. Yeah. Action popped into my mind. Choice, Cherry says. Another good one for me, as you were talking, because I feel like action would be the same as go, is trust. Right?
Ooh, good word.
Trust yourself, trust myself, and trust the plan, trust God, trust, that it's all going to work out. And so for me, I think it does boil down to trust. I can take action, but trusting that this next action is the right thing for me is a big one. So I think for me it's the word trust. And anyone else who wants to chime in. Yeah.
I love the word trust, and made me just think about what I often say to myself is just believe in yourself, believe. And so trust and believe, right? Like those are, you just believe that it's all working out, believe in yourself, believe that you're on the right path, believe, that it's going to be okay. And I think if you have that belief, it makes it easier to say yes to the next step, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, we're almost out of time, but I have one more question I want to talk about because I feel like this one is so good. It is, which feels more true right now? I need more clarity or I need more courage? I think it's important to decide when you do feel stuck, what is it that you really need? Do you really just what to do and you to get unstuck and you just need the courage to do it? Or do you really need more clarity? So for you right now, Nicole, what are you thinking? Clarity or courage?
Hmm. Hmm. Um, I think for me right now, it's clarity. I think clarity continues to come up for me. And I think the clarity will give me courage. That is what I truly feel for me. Clarity, when I feel clear, it's like all green lights, right? Like I'm like ready to go. It's like, "Oh, that makes so much sense." And like I can fully put all my energy behind it because it's like so clear. So for me, clarity continues to be one of the things I work on probably the most. And then yeah, like I said, courage will come. But I just, for me, it's clarity. How about for you, Lori?
Yeah, I think for me in this season right now, it's courage. And Gina also said courage. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's more of a feeling of, okay, I know what to do. Now I just have to take the risk to do it. And courage is putting yourself out there. Courage is making a change. Courage is investing in something and moving in that direction or asking for help. So Cherry also says, courage. I know what I need to do, but I need the courage to start. Well, Cherry, we believe in you. We believe you can do it. If you need some courage, you can borrow from us. But it's so true what you said to Nicole is first you have to have clarity, because courage without clarity is probably going to lead to stupidity. We don't want that.
It's so true though, because you're right. Like you can have courage and do things that you should, like you look back and you're like, that wasn't a great idea. It was not a good one. I had a lot of courage, but it didn't take me in the right direction. So, but I think like a lot of people are saying on here and resonated with you on that is courage at certain points in our life. It's like we have to, because if we want the change, courage, I don't even think you can not have courage be part of the equation. I think you have to, because we know that when we're really comfortable, life is easier, right? We don't, like, you can stay in the same place and you can be like, I can just coast. But when you really have things that you want to do that you have never done before, courage is going to have to be part of it. And, and I believe that we learn so much after every courageous move of who we are and what we can do. Because just like Cherry was saying in there, every action that we take gives us evidence of what is possible, right? It really does. And that courage, every time you take it, and I hope I'm now in a habit of trying to celebrate every time I do a courageous act. I'm like, way to go, Nicole, high five for me. And like I've said before, my kids think it's just so strange, but I am just like, it's a vote for me to say, I see you. I see what you can do, and don't forget it. Just don't forget it. Keep going. Don't forget what you can do. And whether they're small or they're big, they all count. Every single choice to take that courageous move is going to come back so full of evidence, and you're going to build that bank, and it's going to be so beautiful because the next things won't be as hard because you can.
I love that. I think that's a really key thing to remember from today's conversation is that celebration. Celebrate yourself in that knowing, looking in the past, like, did I do something crazy? Did I do something courageous in the past? And did it work out? 9 times out of 10, it does, because you knew that it was the right step and you took a risk and you did it. And then when you look back, you're like, oh, wow. So celebrating your past wins can be a great way to to get yourself unstuck, right? Because your mind is like, oh no, I can't. Well, you actually can, because you have before. And I love that. Such a good point. My best shifts, says Gina, came from crazy courage. I love it.
Crazy courage. I
You
love it
guys,
too.
thank you so much for just diving into this conversation and can't talk, contributing so much today. I really have been encouraged by what you've shared, Nicole, what everyone else has shared in the comments. And this really helps me just know what to do when I do feel stuck. Because let's face it, I mean, I could probably count several times this week that I felt stuck. So it's a big deal to get yourself out of that stuck into the motion, into the courage, into the clarity. So I love that so much. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. We do have some actionable steps for you this week. So if you want to pull out your diary and jot down some of these, this week, instead of asking, how do I get unstuck? Try asking, what might my stuckness be trying to tell me? That's a good one. Notice one place where you've been calling yourself lazy. Maybe it's not, I don't know what to do problem. Maybe it's an area that you just need to actually take that step. Could the truth actually be fear or exhaustion or uncertainty? So ask yourself, what's one tiny step I could take today instead of waiting until I know the whole path? So those are some questions to ponder in your own diary. And of course, we always want you to pull out your diary and write those questions down and keep track of your progress, and then come back next week, 2 p.m. Eastern, every single Friday. Let us know how it's going. We want to know those things. We want to know how you're doing. So we have some key questions that we always ask, and this can be something that you get into your daily practice. What's bringing you joy right now? What's challenging you right now? What's inspiring you right now? And what's one thing you're grateful for this week? So really good stuff to start your mind thinking, jotting those ideas down, jotting those emotions and feelings down, getting it on paper is so helpful. And that's why we love the shared diary. So thanks everyone for joining us. Nicole, do you have any last thoughts?
No, well, I was watching all the comments, and I was thinking today that I want to go back through this because there were so many great tips from people on what gets them out of stuckness, what they do, what they go through as well. And so I think I want to go back because there are so many beautiful things shared in here today, and I'm really, really thanking everybody who showed up. I think, when we talk about stuckness, I hope that everybody continues to remember that we all go through this for sure, that it's only a period of time. I think I've had to say that to myself many times, that this is just one of those waves, right? That I'm not going to be there forever. Like it's just a wave I'm going through. And that, asking ourselves just those questions you had there, Lori, I think are so important because it brings this awareness of like, what is it that is making me feel stuck? Like if I was to write out, I am stuck because, and then we start to write it down, we start to find our stories that are holding us there. And are those stories 100% true? Are they 100% true? To start to question what we've been living by, right? The stories that we've been living by, because once we have this awareness, it changes everything. When we really start to be an observer of ourselves, I believe that's when our lives really open up. Lori, how about for you? What would you love to share at the end
Thank you
here?
so much. I do think it's so important to remember that this is a conversation that we've heard from you guys, that we want you to know that you're not alone, and it helps us feel not alone too. I love this time every week, every Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, where we get together and we get to open up these conversations and not only hear from Nicole, myself, but also Debbie when she comes next week, hopefully. And you guys, it's been so valuable, and I really appreciate all the comments. Thank you, Gina. She says stuck, forging a needed pause. So yeah, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you need help, then reach out. We would love to connect with you. We have a website, shareddiarypodcast.com. We have so many tools and resources every single week, not only the questions that we put into our episodes, but we have a reflection guide that we put out every single week for you. So if you want a copy of that guide, you can go to our website and click the link and sign up to receive that every single week. And this guide just takes the whole conversation that we've had today, and it actually helps you reflect. And it has spaces for you to fill out answers. It has some positive thinking tips. So we would love to share that with you. It's our gift to you. So go to shareddiarypodcast.com and pick up that tool. And my last and final thoughts are, I am so grateful. I'm thankful and grateful for this time every single week. I look forward to it. And I look forward to all of you coming and being a part of the Shared Diary. So thanks for being a part, and we love you, and we wish you a very, very wonderful week. We'll see you next week, because life is better when the diary is open.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Before we close today's diary, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending your time with us, for listening, for reflecting, and for being willing to open your heart along with ours. It truly means more than you know. The Shared Diary isn't just our story, it's yours too. If today's conversation encouraged you, challenged you, or reminded you that you're not alone, we'd love for you to stay connected. You can find us at shareddiarypodcast.com, where you'll discover episode archives, resources, and ways to connect with our community. If you'd like to reach out to Lori, Debbie, or Nicole, you'll find all of our information there as well. We'd love to hear your story. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, don't forget to like this episode, leave us a comment, and subscribe so you never miss a conversation. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you enjoy podcasts, be sure to follow the show, leave a rating, and share it with someone who might need to hear today's message. Most importantly, keep showing up, keep growing, keep sharing your story, because life is better when the diary is open. We're here for you. You're not alone. We'll see you next time on The Shared Diary.